Shalom. I'd like to start by saying Kal Hala Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and to hopefully like pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This one's going to be a short one, but just going to talk about how Israel is slowly, if you're paying attention to the news and, around the world, or even when you're in camp, about Israel slowly coming back to glory, Most because also the curses are being slowly put on to other nations now. We've seen what's happening with the Chinese, the Asians, right? Zephaniah 3:17, the Lord thy power in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save, he will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing, right? And the Most High is, Yahweh, right? He is always over his men, his elect, right? We don't know who the elect are, which is why we say the hopeful elect, right? Because every brother that's in the truth hopes that he's one of the elect men. And there's the elected part of the woman too, right? So but he's dealing with the men first. So like it says, the Lord Yahweh, thy power in the midst of thee is mighty, right? So he's mighty because he's always in the midst of, I believe there's a scripture that says when there's two or three, the Lord is in the midst of thee, roughly paraphrasing, right? He will save, and he will save his hopeful elect, right? He will save his elect, right? Right? Wherever the elect are, he's going to save them, right? He will rest in his love. He will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing, right? And you can even say when the elect when they suffer, because the hopeful elect are suffering because they have to pay for their sins in their past lives, right? The Most High is rejoiced in that. He's joy because that pleases him when you suffer for a righteous thing, for righteous reasons, right? That's actually what pleases the Most High. Just like when Yahushai had to walk with the cross, he went through everything he went through. The Most High was pleased by that, by suffering. And he did that to his own son, his firstborn, his favorite. And he did that to him. But he was pleased by it. And look what Yahushai got. Look who he is. So we're going to jump to 19. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee. Right? So afflict is like someone that hurts, causes pain, right? And who's been doing that? On the top, it's, so-called, the Edomites, the so-called white man, right? Then you have the other nations. You have the Asians. You have the Elamites, which are the Indians, like from India. You have Ishmael, the Arabs, all of them, all the other nations. They all afflicted us at one point in time. But the head honcho is the Edomites, the so-called white people. Right. And when I say Edomites, I mean the ones that actually, their bloodline actually goes back to Esau, because you have so-called white people that look like Edomites, but they're Israelites, because if you check their bloodline, they could be Irish people or whatever, right? Because Israel's everywhere, but especially, for example, Irish people are Israelites, because they're that's a whole different conversation, but Israel was over there. If you know what Dublin, the city Dublin means black city, right? Which we're not black, but it's just a reference to Israelites, dark-skinned people, right? And and also there's something called the Black Irish, right? Which is referring to the Israelites that were there. Hence the name Hibernia, right? If you know what Hibernia is, you can go into that. But anyways, I don't want to go off topic. But the point is that behold, at the time I will undo all that afflict thee. So all the people that afflicted us, he's going to do it. So that those curses that were put onto us are going to start to put onto them, right? He's going to undo it, and I will save her that halteth, right, and gather her that was driven out, and I will get them praise and fame in every land, fame in every land where they have been put to shame, right? And who's been driven out? Israelites, you know. Israelites have been driven out of, you know, of their name, of their heritage, of who they are, right? Out of their lands, more importantly, like Israel, we've been driven out of that land. We're not there anymore. We have strangers there, right? But more importantly, who is also referring to is the Gentiles, right? Because the Gentiles were driven out, or the Israelites were driven out of the house, you know, of Israel, and they became Gentiles. So he's going to bring them back. So that's also talking about, you know, the elect coming back to who they are. I'll get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. So that's happening now with GMS. You can see that GMS is the only camp that's all over around the world, right? You can say they're the most known unknowns, right? And, you know, if you're in camp and you've noticed, like, when people walk by the camp, they stop talking or they're quiet. You can see their countenance changes, or you can feel it because they know this is serious business here. So they, you know, unless it's a demon, and you know when it's a demon because when they don't do that, and then they come up and they say something to you, to the camp, or the elders that are speaking, the prophet speaking and prophesy, right? But it's a respect thing, right? Respect thing. So then now we're gonna go to 15. The Lord hath taken away thy judgments; he hath cast out thine enemy. The kingdom of Israel, even the Lord Yahweh, is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil anymore, right? So the judgments that we're catching, the hell that we're catching, is slowly turning onto the other nations, right? Now, at the end of the day, when Jacob's trouble happens, right, when it really kicks off, and, you know, they start forcing these chips in people, you know, that's when the real test happens, right? What we're gonna do. But like I said, the Lord Yahweh is always there. Like it says, even the Lord is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil anymore. Right? Now, for the judgments to be fully taken away, that's when we're in the kingdom. Right? That's when we're not going to have any judgments because we're going to be righteous. We're going to be perfect. We're not going to go off. Right? We won't see evil anymore. We won't see it. We won't experience evil anymore, which just means bad time. Right? And the Most High is always going to be with us. He's not going to leave us. He's always going to be there. Right? He's not going to be ashamed to look at us or disgusted to look at us because of how filthy we are, because of how wicked we were, how dirty this place is. Right? So now you're going to go to Ezekiel 34 and 16. Ezekiel 34 and 16. I will seek that which was lost and bring again that which was driven away, and will bind up that which was broken, and will strengthen that which was sick. But I will destroy that fat and the strong, and I'll feed them with judgment. So, like, what was lost was the elect, right? You could say Israel, right? But the more importantly, the elect, because the elect, you know, became Gentiles. They got lost. They left their house, right? And they wandered out of their home, right? Spiritually, right? So he said, I will seek which was lost and bring again that which was driven away, right? So he's going to bring them back, right? They're going to bring them back to who they are so they can know who they are and do what they have to do, right? Because yes, it is Israel, right? But 2/3 of Israel is going to be cut off, right? They're going to be destroyed with the rest of the heathens when the destruction comes. And it will bind up that which was broken. Also, what was broken was the relationship between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, right? So he's going to bind that back up. So there's no more fighting between Issachar and Judah or Benjamin and Ephraim, right? There's no more of that fighting right? It's going to be bounded up. We're going to be one. And I will strengthen that which was sick, right? Because we were sick. We're sick of these filthy doctrines that polluted us spiritually and physically, and but I'll destroy the fat and the strong, and I'll feed them with judgment, right? And those would be the 2/3. 2/3 are part of that, the fat and the strong, right? And other nations, they're going to be destroyed too. So now we're going to go to Jeremiah 32, 41. Jeremiah 32 and 41. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do them good. I will plant them in the land, surely with my whole heart and with my whole soul. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, like as I have brought all this great evil upon this people, so will I bring them all the good that I have promised them. So it's only going to be, the Most High is going to balance everything out. We're going to be put back in the place that we're supposed to be in, which is Israel, after it's been cleansed, right? Everything's going to be turned back to the way it's supposed to be. We're going to be on top, and the Edomites, so-called Edomites, who are on top right now, are going to be on bottom, all the way on the bottom, right? And like I said, you can see it, like what I'm talking about. You can see it if if you have an eye to see, right? It's slowly changing, slowly, right? Now, 2/3 are still going to be 2/3, right? People are going to know it's funny, like, people can see a 2/3 when they see it just by the way they act, right? But really, it's their spirit, you can tell their spirit's just corrupted. Anyways, that's it on that. I don't want to, the point has been made, hopefully, hopefully for the hopeful elect, right? I'd like to close out by saying, Ka halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Death and destruction to his wicked kingdom, and the 2/3 as well. Kwam Yasharallah, Abad Babal, Shalom.